Today is about helping you grow through what you're going through. We have Chip Baker on the show today. Chip is a fourth generation educator with over 25 years of experience as a teacher and coach. He also has a multiple time best selling author, YouTuber, podcaster, transformational speaker, and life coach. We are diving into his powerful philosophies on growing through your go through and finding blessings in the lessons. We'll dive into his journey, the impact of influence, and the importance of servant leadership and a loving environment. So let's dive in now. Chip, welcome to Life Without Secrets.
Let's go.
Oh my
Let's
goodness. Thank you
go.
so much for coming on the show. I am super
Yeah.
excited and happy that we're connecting on here. We had a phone conversation before this and I just felt like lit up, and I love what you do, and your heart is just like so big. So I am
Thank
so
you.
grateful to have you on.
Yeah. Same sentiments to you. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here. Been looking forward to it. Grateful that we have, got connected, and I'm looking
Yeah.
to learning and growing with you and from you as well. So let's get it.
Right? Let's get it. So I want to start by letting our listeners in on you sharing a bit about your background and kind of
Mhm.
what inspired you to become a fourth generation educator and coach.
So, I am Chip Baker. I'm a fourth generation educator, teacher, former coach. I always catch myself smiling when I say that because that's important to me. That means something to me. That means that
Mm,
my mother was a retired educator, my grandmother was a retired educator, and my great grandmother was a retired educator. And so now I just completed my 25th year in education, and I have a younger sister that is in education as well. And so that's important to me. I tell
mm.
people, I'm from the South. I say I come from a family of church folk with no S. I come from a family of church folk and educators, and that means that we were in church a lot. And I come from a family that gives service, and I was taught at a young age that it's bigger than me. It's not about me. It's about what you can do to help others. And so, the reason I decided to do what I do in my life is because I was shown so many great things by the people that have come before me.
That's so powerful. And I
Yeah.
love that you have such a pride in that, because I think that when we have a pride in like where we came from, whether it was good or bad, right? Like, because in my journey, some people are like, oh my gosh, like that's your story. And I'm
Hmm.
like, yeah, but like I'm okay with it. And I'm proud of my journey because of where I am
Yeah.
today. And so I think that's really cool to see and hear and also just feel your sense of pride for, your mom and being a fourth generation educator. The it is so important. Like education is so important. And I consider myself a lifelong learner. And
Yep.
so I really appreciate what you do to educate so many in the younger generation and adults now, right? And coaching and things like
Hmm.
that. So I've often heard you now talk about growing through your go through and then finding blessings in the lessons. And those really just stuck with me when we were talking on the phone. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I just like couldn't put them down. I love it. So, can you elaborate on kind of these philosophies and how they've kind of shaped your journey?
Sure. And thanks for checking that out. I'm glad you enjoy that. Uh,
Yeah.
so, so the title of my very first book that I wrote is titled "Growing Through Your Go Through," and basically what that means is, I don't care who you are, where you're from, how you were raised. We're all going to face some challenges and adversities in our life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, what we have to do is make sure that we not just go through those, but make sure that we grow through those, right?
Mm.
Because I believe that on the other side of our toughest challenges is our maximum growth,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so
Mm-hmm.
what we have to do is, have the awareness to find the blessings in the lessons that we're learning as we're growing. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
when we get on the other side of that, it makes us more valuable and more marketable because we've been through that. And so, because there will be someone that you will come across in your life that will be growing through the same thing, and you can help them. Hey, you may even face the same thing again in your life, but it
Mm-hmm.
makes you better at attacking that challenge the next time you get to it, because you've grown through that before.
Yeah. Is there something like in your own personal life where this has really shown up?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
My
Could you
life.
share? Yeah. Tell
I
us a little
think,
bit more deeper
yeah,
about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, growing up, I was raised with a single parent mother. My father was in my life. A lot of people, when you say single parent, deadbeat dad. No, I don't want to. My father was in my life, but he was just not in the home, and
Mm-hmm.
so,
Mm-hmm.
um, so there were challenges in the house financially, some hardships, some things that we had to grow through. Um, hurt, pain, those kind of things. But on the other side of that, in the profession that I chose to go in, I'm around kids and people that experience that on a day-to-day basis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I
Mm-hmm.
know what it feels like. And so it allows me to relate better with those students, with those people that I work with, or with the people that I speak to in my speaking,
Mm-hmm.
because I've had some things in my life that I've had to grow through. And so, none of us are perfect. We're all
Mm-mm.
just doing the best we can with what we have. And that's the perspective that I come with it, come to it with. We all have value. We just have to figure out what that value is and then use that to be a blessing to others.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you mind giving us like a specific example of a challenge in your life that you maybe turned into an opportunity?
If you can you repeat that for me, please?
I know, sorry, our internet is not great. Can you share with us kind of more of a specific example of how you've turned your challenge or a challenge in your life into an opportunity to support others?
Yes. So in education, you know, uh, in any profession, there's certifications, tests that you have to take to advance and those kind of things. So, um, to teach a certain subject, you have to be certified in that and take the test. Well, coming out of college, man, it took me a couple years to pass this one certification test that I needed, right?
Mhm.
And so, um, man, I mean, like 2 years of complete, like, taking the test repeatedly and
Over and
having to pay
over.
for it,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Mhm.
And so, here I am. I told you, like, I'm a fourth generation educator. Like, been taught some great things. That's what we do, right?
Mhm.
But now, like, I'm not capable of passing the test to be able to do that. And so, there's a few times I took it where I just missed by like 2 points, or but then I realized, I got to a point to where I said, okay, I've been preparing my whole life for this,
Mm.
right? Um,
Mhm.
Whatever it is, whatever the challenge is, whatever it comes at me, I am going to continue to study, continue to persevere, and I will continue at it until I pass it. Right. And
Mhm.
so I was grateful to have people around me that gave me opportunities where I had a job, but it just wasn't in that specific field. But eventually I passed it. And so what happened is, it allowed me to be an official teacher, if you will, and be certified in that. Now, where I was able to help is this. Eventually, I received Teacher of the Year on my campus twice.
Mm.
Eventually, I've been able to make a positive difference in the life of so many students, which has helped me because it's life changing to change lives, right? And so there's been so many positive benefits from that. What if I had given up and said, well, man, this test, I'll never be able to do this. I just give up, right? What if
Yeah.
I had given up and not just grown through what I was going through, right?
Mhm.
I wouldn't have experienced those things, and it wouldn't have, hopefully, been a blessing to others. And there's been some people in my profession that I've come across that have had issues with passing the test as well. So I was
Mhm.
able to say, hey, just keep pushing. You can do it. Like, I'm not just saying, hey, it's not fluff. Like, hey,
Yeah.
you got it. No, like, no, I really understand where
Yeah.
you are. just keep going at it, and eventually it will happen for you. So that's a specific example of that.
Yeah, and I have to say, like, as someone who is a mom of someone who has also kind of struggled in school, it
Hmm.
hasn't been like his, you know, most confident place for
Hmm.
himself. Like having someone like you, or hit,
Yeah.
one of his teachers actually was like, like who
Yep.
you are to so many, right?
I
And
remember you telling me
I
that. Yep.
yeah, and, like, I have to say, like, Miss Allison, if you ever listen to my podcast, that's who helped my son, and, like, I felt like I loved her so much, like, I felt like she wanted to see my son win, even though he struggled,
Hmm.
and he
Yes.
felt that from her. It wasn't just like your mom, like, wanting you to be good at something. It was somebody besides your parent that was stepping up and believing in you and showing you like you can do it. And even if it's hard and you fail the first time, you keep going, and you can do this. And I just like, I love what you do for those students that, do struggle
Thank you.
because it has meant so much to me as a mother,
Thank you.
watching my son go through that as well and having him graduate and come out on the other side. So, you're right. Like, I'm so glad you took that test and passed too, because I can only imagine the
Yeah.
impact that you have in the classroom. So, I just think that is amazing. And I think, like, so many of us, like, we almost like are afraid to, like, we fail at something once, right? And then we stop and we don't continue and we don't grow through that struggle. And so we never get to the other side to
Hmm.
how who the people are that we can help, in that new environment. And I've tried different things in my life and it is hard in the beginning, like when
Yeah.
you've struggled in a subject and you finally get to that point and then you're like, man, like, can I do this? But then once you go out there and you see the impact you can have, it's just confirmation that the struggle was worth
It's worth it
growing through.
for
So,
sure. That's it. And
yeah.
just kind of piggybacking on that too.
Yeah.
Um, you know, reps make you better.
Yeah.
So, as you get the reps, you become better at handling those tough challenges and those adversities. And so now in my life, it's a perspective shift. Now in my life,
Mhm.
I welcome those challenges because I know on the other side of those challenges, I'm gonna be better. And
Yeah.
so
Yep.
that's
Yeah.
that's what it's about for me now.
Yeah, that's so cool. So, not only in the classroom, but like outside the classroom, you
Yeah.
also just make such a big impact. You have wrote several volumes of Impact of Influence, right? And you also
Yeah.
have your podcast, The Success Chronicles. What inspired you to go outside the classroom? And what message do you hope to like convey through all this work you're doing outside of the classroom?
I think to your first question, I think there's some transferable skills that I've learned along my journey. And so really I've been able to just take those skills that I didn't know that I would use now. I was
Mm,
just working hard to be of
mm-hmm.
service, working hard to strive to make a positive difference. But what I didn't know is that there were some things that I was learning um, that's helping me now, communication skills, clerical things, lots of different stuff that I learned
Mm-hmm.
then that has allowed me to be better, to be of service now. And so, of course, there's some things that I haven't learned. I had to learn, as well now. But that's the fun part of it is, you know, I didn't take any communication classes or classes on editing or the softwares. Like those are things that I've had to learn as I go, and I welcome all of that. And so, man, my hope is that I just provide some positive inspiration and motivation, and let people know that you can do amazing things. The big man has made each of us a one of one. Hold on, wait a minute. Let me make sure I
Yeah.
give him that again. Let me give him
I
that
think so
again.
too.
So the big man has made each of us a one of one. Oh
Mhm.
man. So what that tells me is that like each one of us are special in our own right. And so the big man has given us talents and abilities that's different from anybody else. And so it's our job to tap into what that is and use that to be a blessing to others.
Mhm. And how did you find yours, like, in particular? Like, obviously, we find them in our journey as we go and
Yeah.
we unlock, like, more spiritual gifts, I feel like, as we
Yeah.
grow through what
Yeah.
we go through.
Come on.
I
Come
keep
on.
saying that because it's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It's so true, but, like, what has that looked like for you?
I think as I hear you ask the question,
Yeah.
the word that comes up for me is a feeling, right?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
it's a feel. Those people that are like, I'll just give a sports analogy, like a running back. When we
Mhm.
watch a graceful running back on TV, like they look smooth and they just do their thing. But then you ask those people, like, man, how did you know to cut back here or to do all of those things? He's like, man, it's just a
Mhm.
feel. Like, I've gotten so many reps at it that when I get there, it's a feeling that I have, and it just flows there, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, it's the same thing. Throughout my life, throughout my career, throughout the things that I've been blessed to experience, the environments I've been in, like there's some feels that I've had. This is not good. I don't like the way I
Mhm.
feel when that happens. Like when I do that, yeah, Chip, that's not good. You tripping. You need to be better. Man, that was good. Like I love that. I love the way it feels when I provide this for people. And so, throughout my life,
Yeah.
I've tried to navigate and feel my way through, if you will. Um, and what it's done is it's provided me some lessons. It's provided me a heightened sense of awareness of who I am.
Mm.
It's doubled down on my core principles of what I believe in.
Mhm.
Um, it's allowed me to be consistent throughout my life, which has allowed people around me to trust me, but also it's allowed me to trust myself because I've shown myself that, man, because of that, um, man, I can achieve some pretty cool things.
Right?
Like,
Yeah, it's
I was
so
kind of,
true.
I was almost whispering that, right? It's a shock, like,
Yeah.
man, I achieved some pretty cool things, right?
It's so true. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's actually interesting that you say that. Like, I have a truthful magazine that I wrote, and in there, one of the things
Mm,
is, do you trust yourself in order to trust him or her in the relationship? Listening to our own voice,
yeah,
or his voice, God's voice, our
yeah,
inner guidance. Um, we have to get quiet and still and really hear that out and then follow that. Something I also wanted to talk to you about, and this kind of like leads into it, I feel like, is the power of our choices. Learning to learn from others' mistakes as well,
mhm,
and making those choices and listening to that feeling, right? Of like, oh, this is a good choice, this is not a good choice, and then going
yeah,
with the one that feels better, right? So, can
mhm.
you kind of discuss maybe a pivotal choice in your life that significantly influenced your path? And then let's just go into like the power of our choices.
Yeah. Again, when you asked about a specific example, I can tell you again, it's my life, right? Because like every moment of
Mm.
every day, I'm making choices that either move me forward or hold me back. I'll give you
Mm-hmm.
that one again. Every moment of
Mm-hmm.
every day, I'm making choices in my life that either move me forward or they hold me back. And right. And so it's important to make sure that I'm intentional about the choices that I make. It's important to make sure that I'm on purpose with the choices that I make because living intentional and being on purpose lives to leads to leaving an intentional and a purpose filled legacy, if you will.
Mm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that is
Mm-hmm.
my goal. Like I know that it's not about me. I know that it's bigger than me. I know that every choice I make, it affects somebody negatively or positively.
Yeah, that's so true.
And that's not And I'm not just talking about me. I'm just talking about the
Mm-hmm.
people around me that love and care for me. Right.
Yeah.
And so it's important for me to strive to be intentional, and I'm not perfect. I've
Mm-hmm.
made mistakes. I make mistakes. I'm gonna make plenty more. But my intention, my heart is in the proper perspective, and my heart is striving to do things the right way. And so,
Yeah.
I rock with effort. I love people that are around me that give effort, because that shows me that you're trying. That shows me that
Yeah.
you care. That you care. And so, man, I rock with that all day. But then the bigger picture for me, and this is pretty good right here. I believe, I told you I'm an educator, so I got to give you some
I
math
love it.
in our
It's so good.
interview. All right. So I believe that the sum total of who we are is E plus R plus A. Okay. The sum
Mm.
total of who we are is E plus R plus A. And the first E is our environments, right? So what are the environments that we've been in
Mm.
throughout our life, right? The second E is our experiences. What experiences have we, had to grow through in our life, as a kid, getting education, uh, you
Mm-hmm.
know, relationship, all of those different experiences that we've had to learn some things from. Then the R is relationships. Um, One of my former pastors said this, and it gave me chills when he said this. Life moves at the speed of our relationships.
Mm.
And it's so true. Those people that have great relationships are doing pretty cool things. Those people that
Mm.
uh are not doing so well, they probably need to have better relationships, right? And then the A in that formula is actions. What actions have I taken in my life that have moved me forward or held me back? Right. And so when I reflect on all of those things and look at myself, that's the sum total of who I am. Right. My environments, my experiences, my
Mm-hmm.
relationships, and my actions. And my goal is to continue to learn from those as I grow in my life.
I love that so much. Environment, experiences, relationships, and actions.
Yeah, that's the sum total of who we are.
That is so good. I really like that. EERA.
Mhm.
Yeah. And you have done such a good job of creating such a loving environment for people to grow in. What do you think? We're talking about the choices that we make.
Mhm.
And you were just saying the sum of who we are is our environment. What happens if we don't come from, the best environment? And what how do we change that, or how do we make it so that doesn't define us?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you asked that question, because I'm a positive guy. And you gave the bio of all the positives and the great things and all of those things, right? We talked about the career and the books and the growing and all of that happy positive stuff. But there's some things in my life that have been tough, right?
Yeah.
And you think about it, like all of those like successful people that we know, they've been through some stuff, right?
Mhm.
And it's created grit in their life, which has allowed them to be successful in their life. And then you get to the bio stuff and the positives. But no, there's some lessons that you have to learn. And so, to specifically answer your question, the good thing about experiencing bad stuff is that you learn what you don't want in your life. Hold on,
That's so
I'm
true.
gonna go
Yep.
on again.
There you
That's
go.
they need to hear it. The good thing about experiencing bad stuff in your life is it shows you what you don't want in your life. And so, like, the first thing that comes to mind for me is relationships. Think about the bad relationships you've had in your life. You're like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not gonna be in that. No, bro. Like, so then when you get what you want that comes along, you hang on to it because now you see, man, this is pretty good, right?
Mhm.
Jobs, you in a situation where like, man, this is not providing me passion. Like, I do not love this, right? Well, guess who can control that? You. And you can
Mhm.
put yourself in a situation to where you are happy. And
Mhm.
so what we have to do is learn from the bad. And,
Mhm.
there's some things that I saw as a young kid, uh, some things that I heard, like family stories of this happened, because of alcohol or,
Yeah.
you know, you know, jail or, whatever. And so to me, I'm like I see how my family reacts to that. I see how that makes my mom sad. I see how that's tough on the people around me. Well, I don't want to do anything like that to be a burden to those people that I love. So now it helps steer me in the right way, to have an awareness to just strive to do things the right way.
Why do you think that some people let the negative environment kind of define them and they choose to go that direction as opposed to like you and me that see it, we feel it, we are aware of it, and
Yeah.
we choose it as something we don't want. A lot of people, we see, like I work in the ER, right? And I see a lot of
Yeah.
bad happening, right? And the
Yeah.
choices people make maybe were not the best choices. And
Yeah.
then there is a almost like a blame on the environment they came from. I just would love to hear like what are your this is just like side conversation here. Like
Yeah.
what
Sidebar
is your
conversation.
right? Like what do you think about that? Like what are your thoughts on that as someone that has also not come from like the best situation?
Right.
Like why do you think that is?
I think it's a number of things. I think you have to have a certain maturity. You have to have a certain sense of self worth.
Mm,
I think you have to have a sense of being an independent thinker, if that
mhm.
makes sense.
Mhm.
I can recall, this is the old tale. If everybody go jump off the bridge,
Yeah.
you gonna go jump off the bridge? Well, no, ma'am. I don't want to
No,
jump
ma'am,
off the
I'm
bridge.
not.
Like just those different things like that. I think it takes a combination of things, but I think at the end of the day, you have to be able to tap into your why and what's important to you, right?
Mm,
Because there's going to be some situations in your life where you're going to be around people that what's important to you may not
mhm.
be important to that person that's next to you, right? Like even in
Yeah.
your house, right?
Yeah.
Like there may be some things like just because it's my passion, don't mean that it has to be your passion. So
Mhm.
I have to be strong enough mentally to say, hey, I'm going to live within my passion, right?
Yeah.
That makes me happy, right? And when I do that, the bigger picture of that is it allows me to be the best version of myself so that I can give the best version of myself to those people around me that I love and care about. And so we have to have a sense of knowing that we are enough. I think sometimes people think, man, I'm not enough. I think if I just make these choices, these people will think better of me. Or,
Mhm.
if I just do this, it'll help me feel better. You know, hey,
Yeah.
you're enough.
Right? Listen up.
You are enough. You
Yeah.
don't need anything else. The big man made you a one of one. We talked about that
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah.
You are enough, and you just have to live within that and know that. Now, living within that comes some growing through what you go through because there will be some tough challenges. But in those challenges, you need to know that you are enough to make it through those
Mhm.
challenges and get on the other side of those challenges because that's where your maximum growth will be.
Yeah. And I want to go back to like the environment and knowing we're enough, right? I think, did you have someone in your life, whether it was a teacher or a
Yeah.
neighbor or someone in your
Yeah.
life that like helped you see you were enough? Because I think like like from what I know about you and our conversations, like that is seems like something deep rooted in your heart that you like to
Yeah. I'm
create a
passionate about
loving,
that.
yeah, loving
I mean
environment
that.
in your
Yeah.
classroom as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, was there someone for you?
There. I don't know. I don't know that we have enough time. She poured to us and believed in us. She worked 3 and 4 jobs to make sure we had what we needed. Um,
Mm.
she would guided me to put me in uncomfortable situations, but also was supportive to say, hey, no, you got it, you can do it, right?
Mm.
Like, no,
Yeah.
you're all right, you got it, you just try it,
Mm-hmm.
you can do it, right? And so, again, reps make you better. So as I to school, extra tutoring, like all of those things, and so uh, just stopping there, those people didn't have to do that.
Mm.
Like they didn't have to choose to say, "Hey, no, we're gonna help you. Like you're gonna be all right." And so for me, the passion comes from knowing what that feels like
Yeah.
to say yes to you, because they believe in you and they see something in you that you don't even see in yourself.
Yeah.
And so, like, I know what it feels like to receive that. And so, my goal has been to strive to give that to others. Because
Yeah.
I know what it feels like. Come on in. You good. It's a safe space here. I got you. Like it's a safe zone. We're not judging. And we're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna have high standards. I'm gonna hold you accountable. We're gonna work hard, but man, we're gonna have a good time doing it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And
and that's what I
so
was actually gonna ask you is like, what are some steps or some like what does it look like for individuals or leaders? What kind of steps or things they can do to create a positive and supportive environment? Because
yeah,
I think sometimes we don't even know, like we are impacting someone and we might even not even knowing it and creating that environment for them. So how can we be sure to like create that environment for others in our community or our
yeah,
workplace?
yeah. I think just a couple things come to mind for me. Smile.
Mm,
Uh, check your ego at the door. It ain't about you. It's bigger than you. uh, find ways to be of service, because in those toughest, because like as I got older in my life, I found that the things that helped me get through the toughest times of my life is giving service to others.
mhm.
Because what that does is that allows me to work through and sometimes even forget about what my tough challenges are, because like somebody else is going through way tougher challenges than what I think, poor Chip is having. So, find ways to be of service to people. And then I think the other thing from there is, if you're not of service, do the work on yourself to allow you
Mhm.
to be of service.
Yeah.
Right. So put yourself in situations to where you're learning things, um, and you're intentional about knowing that, hey, by me learning this, I know that I can help others with it. Right. And
Yeah.
it's not selfish means. And I think that when we can do those things, I think it just makes for a great environment, because I know you've heard this before, more is caught than taught. Like I can say a whole lot of stuff, but if my actions aren't in alignment with my words, then like you can forget about it,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know? And so
Yeah.
it's important to make sure that, man, we take intentional actions to help others and be of service.
Yeah, and I feel like servant leadership is like so much of what you are. And maybe we could like define that for others. Like what does that look like and why do you believe it's so important in today's world?
Mm. You know, like servant leadership is one of those words that people throw out a lot, you know,
Mhm. Yeah.
and they use it a lot. But I believe, and I've heard somebody say this, like, I don't have to tell you I'm a servant leader.
Mhm.
You should be able to see that I'm a servant leader.
Ooh, I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, like some people
Yes.
look at it as kind of like an ego deal,
Mm.
like I'm a servant leader, or like, no,
Mm.
like you see that I brought you stuff to help. Like, I don't have to tell you I'm a servant leader, right?
Right.
Uh, but I think that the servant leader piece is, it boils down to coming from a good-hearted place. I think having pure-hearted intentions, um, to be of service to others, and not striving to take advantage of anyone, or not trying to gain like your own selfish acclaim, but
Mhm.
doing like being intentional, having thoughts and having actions that align with those thoughts, that are intentional about helping others. I
Yeah.
think that that's what servant leadership is about. And um, I mean, I think it's just like weight training. You have to build your gratitude muscle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you have to work on showing gratitude and saying thank you, and
Mm-hmm.
holding the door open. Like, you have to be intentional on those things, right? You have to
Yeah.
think about helping others, like, oh, let me help you with that. Or, just a smile. Like I said,
Yeah.
like, you have to, like, smile. And it just, like, a simple thing like smiling at someone or speaking to someone, man, a smile transcends all barriers.
Yeah, it's so true. And it's funny because I could be having like a not a great day. I'll
Yeah,
go to the grocery store, go to work or wherever I go, and I'll always smile at people. And when they smile back, it does something
yeah,
internally to myself, like that makes
yes,
my day better too, you know? So yeah, I think a smile really does go a long way. And I also think that we live in a world, that is a lot about self. And I will say this. I will say that like the work you do on yourself um is not selfish, right? Because that allows
yes,
you to find the gifts that you are able to give
so
to others.
true.
However, like just doing it for ourselves is selfish. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so I do. I think it's important to know, why you're doing something and even in the small things like how it can help someone else. But doing the work on yourself, I think is huge in order to figure out how you can better serve people.
Oh, without a doubt. Like,
Mhm.
you can't pour from an empty cup,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And I've
Yep.
heard it said too, self care is not selfish.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to do those things to take care of yourself, um, so that you can give the best version of yourself to others, right? And so
Mhm.
I think, just kind of like how you said it, it has to deal with the intentions of
Yes.
why you
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, just, out of transparency here, like we were talking today, I'm like, yeah, I worked all weekend. It was a
Yeah.
crazy week last week. And I was telling you at the beginning of this, I'm like, I can feel my energy is a little bit low. And,
Hmm.
I got to call some girlfriends this morning and chat about it. And then, I need to, in my calendar this week, I need to take a day of rest because
Hmm.
it's so important for us to reflect, to re energize so that we can be there for others in the way that we want to.
Yeah, they was on to something about that whole Sabbath thing, huh?
Yeah, no kidding, right? So true.
Yeah.
What let's give people like a final like a piece of advice that you'd give listeners for that are looking to grow through their own challenges, find blessings in their lessons. What is something essential for overcoming challenges in life?
I'll go with my tagline that I use for my YouTube channel and podcast, and that tagline is live, learn, serve, inspire, go get it. And
Mm,
the breakdown of that is like every time I say that tagline, it gives me chills because it means something to me, right?
mm,
And the live is, we have to live a life, but we're not afraid to live.
mm,
Right. And when we live a life like that, we learn so many things. We learn so many things, yes, about the world, but more so we learn so many things about ourselves.
mhm,
Right. And then it allows us to be of service and serve.
mhm,
Because we've lived and learned, you can't be selfish. You gotta share that with some people and serve in a manner. And while you're serving and growing through what you go through and facing those challenges, what you don't realize is that it's inspiring to others. Like,
mm,
people see you doing your thing, and it's truly inspiring. And then the last piece of that, to go get it. I believe that no significant success is just going to come to you. I believe
mhm.
that you have to go get it and make it happen. So live,
Yeah.
learn, serve, inspire, Go get it.
I love that. So good. Well, I'm
Thank you.
just so grateful for having you on here, Chip, and sharing your heart with us today. It's just been such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much again for having me on your platform. Love what you do. Love what you're about. Love your heart of service as well. So I'm just honored and grateful to be a part of this. And I hope that your audience is able to get something from our conversation.
Yeah. How can people connect with you from here?
Yep. So all of my social media is at Chip Baker TSC, as in the Success Chronicles, except for X, and X is at Chip Baker 19. And so, I ask that the usual, like, people like, follow, subscribe, all of those things. That's fine. You can do
Mm-hmm.
that, but I ask that if you go on and you see something that you like, and there's someone that you love and care about that comes to mind, I just ask that you would share with them in hopes to make their
Mm,
world better.
love that. Well, thank you, Chip. I'm so
Thank
excited. Thank you for tuning in to Life Without Secrets. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with anyone who might benefit from these powerful insights. Until next time, stay true to yourself and keep embracing the journey of growth and connection.